Okay, well, I hope you've been having fun putting together your website from scratch. There's a couple of things I want to go over before we get started. One is if you are confused about how you make a screenshot, I've put several directions. You hold down the Command Shift Cap Locks and 4. I know it's a lot of stuff. And it creates this little thing. See this thing here? And then you just take it and you drag it over what you want to take a picture of. Let go, and it'll make that noise like a camera going off. And then it'll be either in your local file, or I've actually asked if they would put a folder on the desktop saying screenshots. So hopefully that's been done. But if not, you should be able to find it in the local file. All right, so with that said, you should be about here, and you should have sent a screenshot, and we all know what each other's looks like now. Another thing I want to share with you that might have shown some confusion last week is when you go to the web and it doesn't show up with this background on it. Here's a trick for you, and I've already put it in the notes. You want to click on the actual div so that it's highlighted like this, and I want you to go to the content, and now instead of in the box it's saying 0, I want you to put a number like 6. For now, 600 is fine. When you put in 600, you'll see when we go to the web, it actually appears. And it's just like a little trick that I figured out, that it needed a bottom now. Before, you couldn't have a bottom, and now it needed one. But look, and now this is ahead of itself because I've worked on mine already. So that's something for you to know. So just go in there and add a 600 to the box as your bottom. I had already asked you to put a 0 in there. That was my mistake because they've changed things, and that should fix it. We're going to move on. We're going to add navigation. Good times. We like navigation. And I like adding the navigation horizontally across the top. You can, once I show you this, decide what you want to do. But in order to do this, we need to go to split screen, because we want to hit it above the div, which means we want to be inside the body, right? But not inside the div. So here's the body tag right here. You see this right here? So I'm going to hit return once next to that body tag, and that sets it up to be right here, okay? Now we're going to go to insert, and the directions I'll have all there for you. Insert, layout objects, and we want to go down to Spry menu bar. Spries are these really cool things that are little packaged code that's already done for you, so you don't have to build out every little part of it. So we love the Spry. So you're going to click on Spry. It's going to ask you if you want to go horizontal or vertical. Horizontal is the most common, and it's what I like because it fills the page a little nicer. So we're going to hit horizontal. And there it is. Goes right in. Okay? And as you see over here, are all the elements of the code. So if you had to write that, yeah, that's why we love Spry, okay? So you've got it in there, and you want to decide, do you want it to be floating right or left, or do you want it in the center? So this is what we do here. We go over to the our CSS styles, right? And first you have to make sure you're clicked on this Spry menu bar, because we want to be able to see down here. That's our next step. We're going to go over here to the Spry menu, and I'm going to double click on that so it opens. And look at all of these different things within the Spry menu. There's a lot, and I give you some directions on what some of these can be used for. But right now, all we're going to worry about is if we want to float the box left or right, or if we want to float it center, okay? So to float it left or right, you go to the Spry menu LI, this one right here. And that's like, think of lineup, okay? Double click on it, and we want to make sure when we go to the box that it's floated left. Or let me move this out of the way so you can see it happen. Or I can make it float right and apply it. It's going to move, I moved them backwards. So I want to float it left again and hit apply, and then I hit OK. This is the second time I'm doing this, so it's going to be a little bit different for me than you again, because I always repeat it a second time. If you want it to be centered, which is what I like to do, you just go to where it says, this whole long thing, it says menu bar horizontal. Double click on it, and then we want to go into the box, and we want to have the width. I've already done this. See, the width is 32. You want to put 32, but you have to make sure you click on EM in order for this to work, okay? And you want to make sure that it's auto over here where it says right and left in your margins. And that's why mine's already done that way, because I did this once before. So mine are going to be centered. Watch, I'm going to go to design mode. See how mine is centered in the middle? So you can decide, do you want it to be off to the left? Do you want it to be centered? I'm kind of like a centered person, so that sounded funny. But you can make that decision yourself. Now, there are also other things you can do, and in the notes that come along with this video, you can go in and you can change colors and you can change all kinds of things. The one thing I really want you to make sure you change is the names. And we do all that right down here. Okay, now here's the interesting thing. See, when we see item 1 here, and then we see 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3. These are the children. They're called the children of item 1. They would be these if we were in actual internet, you'd click on this and they would be subcategories. We want to abort the children. I know how awful that sounds. See, there they are. They showed up. I want to delete that one. So we want to minus it. Want to minus it. We want to minus it. So we want to abort all the children because we're not going to use children. That one doesn't have any. That one has children. So we're going to click on it and we're going to hit minus, minus, minus. Abort, whoops, and hit OK if you want to proceed. And then number 4 doesn't have children. So you're good now. Okay, so none of your 4 pages or 4 links will have children. Let's go back to 1. We want to name this one Home. Now, if you decide you want your websites to be anything other than these 4 names, you're welcome to do so, but these are the ones I'm going to give you. Home is always going to be index, and this is the one I would keep. I have my cap locks on by accident here. dex.html. Okay, so this home is always going to go back to the index, okay, when we connect them, and you'll understand that better later. Item number 2, I'm going to name About, and we don't have that connected to anything yet. Item number 3, I'm going to name Media, and that one I would do because you're going to put media in there. And item number 4, I'm going to name Contact. So the only one that I would say you could change would be, let's get out of there so we get, okay, there they are. They're all right there. Home. You could About could be something else, maybe I don't know, whatever else you'd want it to be. Media and Contact I'd pretty much keep the same, and you'll understand why later. Okay, so once you've done that, then you can go in and the directions will show you how to pretty it. You pretty it by going over here, to the Spry menu, and you go into these areas and you can change colors and you can change fonts and anything you want to do, and that's all in the directions. I'm not going to get too involved in that because the next thing I want to show you how to do is how to create your new pages. Okay, and it's really simple because we want to keep everything that this home page had before, right? So the first thing we want to do is make sure we've saved it. Save. And we know it's index.html, and it says it right up here for us. Want to go to the regular code, you can go right here and look at everything that page has, and that's what we want to keep. There's one more thing before we go on. We want to make sure that this is centered, right? This AP div. To do that, we go to the code, and I've already, split the code. I've already done it in mine. If you add in right under the body tag, just passed it, body tag, okay. Right under the body tag, you want to add, no, right above it, right above the body tag, here it is, I put it in already, sorry you guys. Right above the body tag, you want to put this in, and this is in the notes. You want it to be open div align equals, and in parentheses, center. And then at the very end, before the close of the HTML, you want to close that div, like right here. And that will ensure, when we go to design mode, that you are centered. And you can do the same thing to make sure the Spry widget, but you already did that in the CSS, right? So now both of these are centered. We can look at it on the internet. There it is. See how nice everything is centered? And my monkey looking fabulous? So we're back here again. We're going back to split screen. So now we want to keep all of this to create our new pages. And this is so simple because what all you really want to do is save as. So make sure that your pages are the way you want it. Let's title this first one, put a title in here, and we're going to call it home. Okay, so we always know this one's home. Okay, now we're going to take this page and we're going to go File, Save As, and we're going to call this About. No capital letters. We're going to make sure it's saved in our site, and we're going to put Save. Now this is About. See, you have to look up here. This is the About page. So let's change the title of this to About. Now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to hit the first page, the index page, and we are going to go File, Save As, and we're going to name it Media. No capitals, no spaces. Media.html, put it into our site. Go back to the HTML page, and we're going to go File, Save As, and we're going to name it Contact. Put it in our folder, save it as. Okay. I want to remember to go in and make sure they all have a name. For some reason, this one didn't save. Home. I'm going to go to this one. About, saved. Okay. Media, I probably forgot to do. Media. And Contact. So you always know what you're working in, right? We're here, we're at home, we're at About, we're at Media, and we're at Contact. So all of these pages are linked together as relatives. That makes sense, right? They're relatives of each other. If they were absolutes, which is a different thing, they would be linked to something outside of here. Like these links here, like the University of Arizona and the new school, those are absolute links. They link to outside something. These are all going to be linked within each other. So the next thing you're going to do now is you are going to create these new pages. And your job for this week is to change out everything in the About for it to be About, everything in the Media for it to say Media, and everything in the Content for it to be about Content. So how we do this is we go in and we change out everything in that page so it reflects what you want it to be about. So my About page, I got rid of the dialogue that was there, and I put in, I live in Georgia and love dogs. You can put a whole lot more than that. And I put a picture of a dog. I went to my Media page. I put in a picture of Media. We are going to be putting in YouTube videos and audio and things like that on this page. So you can just put a picture in for now. If you want to look ahead, you're welcome to put some things in. And then on your Contact page, we want to say Contact. We want to make sure that's a head one, right? Let's see. Yep, it is. Cool. And then here we're going to be putting a map in. So really what you want to do is set them up. I should probably put a picture in there too. Let's see what I think I have an image for Contact. Yes. So we'll put in an image. We're going to name it Contact. T-A-C-T. And then that will be there, and and you can fill in what your email address is, your phone number, whatever other information you would put in there, and then we could let's return it. Phone number, and you put it in there, and email. Oh, we have that already. Whatever else you want to do, Facebook. We're going to add all that in the next chapter. So your job is to fill in all these pages, okay? You are going to create the 4 pages. Your index, which is your home page, your About page, your Media page, your Contact page. And the last thing you want to do is you want to connect all of these links together, okay? So we want to make sure for each page we have home, and you want to take out the hashtag now. So the hashtag is not necessary. So pull out the hashtag because you want it to connect right to that page that's sitting in this folder right there. which is on your desktop. So then we go to the About, and it should just say About HTML, and then Media HTML, and Contact HTML. And you want to make sure of that for every single one of them. They all say what they're supposed to say in this link area with no hashtag in front. That was a holding place. Okay, so About, Media, Contact, make sure they're all right. You have to add them in. I did this ahead of time, so you have to type them in to this space. You can also do it this way by clicking on here and pulling it from your folder. It works just as easily. So once you do that, you want to save all just to make sure everything's in there. Start back at the index page, and let's preview it on the web. And you want to make sure all of your links work. So there's my home page, there's my About page, there's my Media page, and there's my Contact page. And I should be able to go back from the Contact to my home page. So all your links should work. So your assignment this week is to fill out your 4 pages. They don't have to be massively filled out just yet. I'd have the About page pretty well set up. The Media page we're going to go into more next week. The Contact page, if you just have your pertinent information, we're going to add in your social media and a map. We may add the social media to the Media page and your map to the Contact page. So get your 4 pages set up. You can do this, your assignment, either as screenshots of each of the pages and describe how you put them together, or you can do the video PowerPoint that I talked about in the beginning of class. Have a great week.